Hello and welcome. My name is Vashti Moffitt, and I am the Student Activities Coordinator within student organizations on the administrative services side. And welcome to the second session of Student Org Leader Developments. For today's session, it would be beneficial if you have a group of individuals that are with you today, as we're going to be discussing some collaborative ideas. But if you do not have anyone with you today, that is perfectly fine. But please ensure that you have a piece of paper and a pencil or something that you prefer to take notes on. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. So first, as an introduction, let's discuss what is S.O.L.D. So S.O.L.D is a leadership development initiative designed to equip student organization leaders with the skills, strategies, and support they need to lead with confidence, collaborate effectively, and create meaningful impact within their organizations and the campus community. Through interactive workshops, networking opportunities, and hands-on learning, S.O.L.D empowers students to grow as leaders while preparing them for success beyond college. I do want to also add the disclaimer, y'all, that these sold sessions are for you. They are intentional. So if there's something that you were expecting for us to discuss in this session that didn't get discussed, please feel free to send me your questions. Even though this is online, you can go ahead and email them to me, and I will get back with you with those answers. If you have any concerns, questions, or even any new ideas that you want to bring to light, please do not hesitate to contact me. I will be sure to provide you all with my email at the very end. All right, as stated, today is our second session, and I'm so excited to have you tuning in with us today. What we are going to be discussing is leading to last, creating legacy in student orgs. So this will engulf what does it mean to have a legacy and how can we continue to build one within your student organization. Our upcoming sessions are, our third one is going to be called All Synced Up, Navigating Org Sync Like a Pro. The fourth one is called Next Up, Smart Student Org Succession. And that basically means what does the transfer of officers look like for your organization? Then we're going to talk about self-aware, others-aware, leadership beyond logic. Then we will move on to Beyond the Org, from campus to career. And in the spring semester, we're going to start off with Let's Collab, fostering partnerships across campus. Then we'll go into Talk That Talk, communication tactics for officer member communication. Then we'll go into Marketing Matters, establishing a healthy online and in-person presence. Then we will have Find Your Balance, managing being a student and a student leader, because we here at Student Activities recognize that that is a hard job to do. Then we will close out the academic year with the friendship factor, managing relationships and leadership roles, because that's not easy. And then we will have summer success strategies, setting your organization up for a strong return. So in the same way that you had to re-register your organization for this academic year, that last session that we have in April, that will greatly benefit you and your organization as you prepare for the next academic year's registration. All right. So now let's discuss how will S.O.L.D benefit me. There are three main things that we focus on how S.O.L.D will benefit you, not only as a student org leader, but just as a leader within your everyday life. Number one is stronger leadership skills and confidence. Through S.O.L.D, students practice real world leadership strategies, forgive me, like conflict resolution, delegation, and communication that prepares them to lead their peers effectively. Number two, we have enhanced collaboration and networking opportunities. By engaging with peers who have different perspectives, students learn how to collaborate across differences, build coalitions, and form support systems. And our third reasoning is personal and professional growth for the future. S.O.L.D workshops help students develop transferable skills such as time management, event planning, public speaking, and strategic thinking that go far beyond campus life. So if you're ever in a S.O.L.D session, or if you're ever watching a S.O.L.D session and you're like, oh, I don't know how this is going to benefit me. I don't really know what I'm supposed to be gaining. I want you to come back to these three things. You are either building a stronger leadership skills and confidence, or you are enhancing your collaboration and networking opportunities, or you have professional and personal growth for the future. And sometimes, depending on the session, you might get all three opportunities in one. And with that being said, today we're going to be discussing leading to last, creating legacy in student orgs. Again, my name is Vashti Moffitt, and I am a coordinator of student organizations admin services. To start us off, I want you to take 3 minutes to define legacy, but personally, how do you define legacy? Now, because this is online, you can choose to pause the video at this time, or I will bring us all back together within 3 minutes. It is your choice. But you have 3 minutes to discuss either with yourself or with your group. How do you define legacy? All right, our 3 minute timer has ended. Please keep your definition of legacy near you as it will be the driving force in our conversations moving forward. So there are two different type of legacies that I want to focus on today. As a student leader, you will have a personal legacy as well as an organizational legacy. So as I am reading these bullet points, please look at your definition of legacy and see if it fits in with any three of these points. If you are missing any one of these, then see where maybe you can add on to or maybe modify. So within personal legacy, legacy is rooted in your values. That means what matters most to you. What are your morals? What are things, your standards that you like to hold yourself to? Your personal legacy also shows up in your character and how you treat people. This is so important within everything that we do that can be easily transferred over to organizational leadership. And personal legacy also is reinforced through your daily habits. This is the consistent actions that people remember. Do you show up on time? Are you always late? Do you communicate well? How do you support others? All right, next we have our organizational legacies. So what organizational legacies can look like are traditions. Are there signature events, rituals, or stories that your organization holds? It can be within the culture of the organization, and culture doesn't always mean that it's tied to ethnic reasons, but it could mean how do members feel about belonging to your organization? Do they feel seen? Do they feel heard? What's really, really important with student orgs is we want to make sure that we're not just hitting on the social aspects of our students, but we also want to help the academic and holistic aspect of the students. We want to ensure that we are developing as leaders, but also that we are developing our members to be whole members so that eventually these members can become leaders. So it's okay to do a temperature check within your organization. Let's say every time that you host a meeting, a quick check-in. That could range from, okay, based off of the inside out characters, which one do you feel like you are today? Now that can seem really silly, but it can also let you know where your members are and how they're feeling. And if they're not feeling heard or respected, or if they have concerns, this will help to create a healthy culture so that they can express those concerns. Next, within organizational legacy is sustainability. So this is systems and practices that keep the organization running. So for example, is your organization that is consistent within their registration? Is the organization consistent within communication? How does the smart student org succession look like? The transfer of officers? Do we know who our advisor is? Are we in communication with our advisor? Are we staying in communication with student activities? So sustainability, you can think of it as retention, right? What is the retention of the organization? And do we have all things in place that we need so that the organization can continue? Or are we falling behind the cracks a little bit every semester? So that goes into your legacy as well. And lastly, even though this is not truly the last thing, but it's the last thing we're going to discuss today, is the structure of the organization. I have found that this is what truly defines the legacy of the organization, because when people don't know what they're doing or when they don't know how things are supposed to operate, it automatically begins to deteriorate the organization. So structure looks like, what are the roles? Even if you are not an executive board member, you still have a role to the organization, right? Every time that you wear that t-shirt with your organization's logo, you are a brand ambassador for that organization. So, for example, if you are wearing a t-shirt that your organization designed and it has your organization's logo on there, but then you are seen in that shirt speaking foully to someone in the campus chat or Eagles Landing, unfortunately, that reputation now follows the whole organization because you're representing the org in this way. And so we want to be mindful of the roles that we have, even if we don't see them as important roles, others might. Documentation. Documentation can go along with the sustainability. Do we make sure that we have all of the constitutions? If there is a contract that our members need to sign, do we have record of that? Is it going to be a physical paper? Is it going to be digital? And then clear processes. So you want to have a structure of how things are supposed to go. Our meeting is supposed to be ran like this, and this. It's okay as an officer, as president, or as a secretary to send out an agenda to your members. This is what you can expect during our meeting. If you would like to add anything, please let me know by this date. That way I can make sure that we stay on track, right? Or the clear processes of, we are hosting an event today. Here's an itinerary of the event. This is what it should look like. If this doesn't happen, here's a plan B. And you want to make sure that you're staying in communication with everyone. That can be a group chat. That can be through your Instagram. That can be through a LinkedIn, a Discord. You just want to make sure that you are having clear processes. So again, I'll go back to the other slide. When it comes to defining legacy, the definition is truly based upon you as a person, but we want to ensure that we're at least hitting on these 3 points within personal, and then these 4 points within organizational. And more than likely, they will transfer over. Sometimes you will see them overlap. For example, it shows up in your character on how you treat people, right? That's from our personal legacy. So we want to be remembered for treating people kindly and allowing everyone to feel heard. So let's cross-reference as an example. If I'm using bullet point 2, it shows up in your character on how you treat people. That will go a lot along with culture, how your members feel. Because let's say, for example, that one of your members does bring up something that doesn't make you feel good to hear. How do you handle that in that way? That can affect your personal leadership and your organizational leadership. If you don't handle it well, someone might not want to be your friend. And if you also don't handle it well, someone might not want to work with you moving forward, right? So we just want to be cognizant of those things. Now, it's 100% okay for you to voice how you feel, but this shouldn't be a yelling match, or it shouldn't be something that's combative. All right, and let's do one more. Let's connect this first one. Legacy is rooted in your values, so what matters most to you? And I believe that it is safe to say that many students are joining student organizations that also align within their values. Sometimes, depending on the organization, you can bring those values forth, and now they can become traditions within the organization. And values don't always have to be tied to ethnic or cultural things, but sometimes they could be as simple of, I have a value of communication. So let's build a tradition to have communication connect, where we all work on communication tactics. So you have the free will to determine what those traditions look like for you and your organization. But we want to identify, is this going to leave a positive legacy for the organization moving forward? If you have any questions on how to overlap organizational and personal legacy, or if you need any clarification on these things, please feel free to email me. All right, next we are going to watch a video called Make an Impact by Ben Lionel Scott. It is a short film, but he really says some impactful things, and I think even the vision of the video will help bring some things to light.
when we're laying on our deathbed, you're not going to worry about how much money you had, how much power you had, how much prestige. You're going to see that that was all game, that that was all an illusion. The only thing that's going to matter is the impact you had on other people's lives.
We are all on a separate journey. But the beautiful thing about our life here on this earth is at my funeral, they ain't going to talk about my success. They're going to talk about who Nick was and how Nick lived and how Nick loved and encouraged.
Success is incredibly important, but even more important than success, it's having an impact. It's knowing you haven't walked the planet in vain. It's knowing that because you've been here, you've blessed lives, you've developed people, and you have made the world a better place.
The effect you have on others is the most valuable currency there is. Everything you gain in life will rot and fall apart, and all that will be left of you is what was in your heart.
Life is a mirror. And life gives us not what we want. Life gives us who we are. When you were born, you cried while the world rejoiced. Live your life in such a way that when you die, the world cries while you rejoice.
All right. So that is the video. Again, it's called Make an Impact. And there is one thing that I do want to highlight that was mentioned in the video, and I want to add on to it just a little bit. When you are going about building your personal and organizational legacy, please do not think that your legacy is only defined by the accomplishments of the organization. Oh, we got 500 people to come to this event. We're so amazing. We're so accomplished. Or, man, we didn't have anybody show up to this event, but 3 people were not as accomplished. Our legacy isn't going to be as strong. That's not it at all. What we want to focus on is the impact that we are making on campus, on our members, and on ourselves. So even if you host, for example, let's say a carnival on campus and only 10 people show up, that is still within itself an accomplishment. You are helping to build a legacy of the carnival, depending on what the carnival was for. So I just say all that to say, please do not determine your org's legacy by your accomplishments, but by your effort and how you treat others. All right, and we've been talking about this a little bit already, but I want to go a little further in depth and do an activity with y'all. So, how does my personal and organizational legacy connect? Your personal leadership decisions feed directly into your organization's legacy. The emails you send, the way you run meetings, how you mentor others, it all adds up. Short-term choices create long-term impact. So like I was referencing earlier, let's say you and another member are having a disagreement. How you act in that moment, because maybe you're frustrated and you're passionate, which is 100% allowed, but we want to remember to be cognizant of how our passionate actions are coming across to others. That doesn't mean silence yourself. It just means code switch. Certain things are applicable for certain situations. So be mindful of your environment and then act accordingly. You can still have a meeting off of the original meeting that y'all had if you just want to have a personal one-on-one, or even if you just want to have a debrief session with somebody who knows you a little bit more personally. But we really want to make sure that we understand that our short-term choices create long-term impact. All right, now let's collab. This is where we are going to need those few individuals if they are around you. If not, feel free to work on this by yourself and show this video to other friends so that you can work on it. But what we are going to do is we are going to form groups. You're going to answer the prompts together. I would like for you to provide 2 to 3 examples for each. And after 10 minutes, each group will share their ideas out loud. Now, because this is recorded, I'm not going to take the full 10 minutes here online, but please feel free to pause this video for 10 minutes so that you can complete the activity. All right. And the prompts that we have today that I would love for you to discuss. Number one, what are you doing now as student leaders to make sure that legacy happens? This can be personal or organizational. What barriers or challenges could make this difficult but not impossible? As student org leaders, it's very smart of us to go ahead and think about what are some ways that we're going to need to pivot? What are some things that we need to be prepared for? And the last one is, what skills or characteristics, either personal growth for leaders or organizational growth, need to happen to achieve that legacy? So number one, what are you doing now to build legacy? Number two, what challenges can you anticipate that are going to maybe conflict with that legacy that you're trying to build? And then what skills or characteristics are needed for you as an individual and for the organization to combat those challenges? All right, and whenever you are ready, please feel free to pause the video and I will see y'all in 10 minutes. All right, y'all, our time is up. I hope that you were able to have great discussions with each other. Let me go ahead and add a little emphasis on some of these, and then we will go ahead and conclude with our session today. So, within the question, what are you doing now as student leaders to make sure that legacy happens? So, examples is the president of an org last year. Let's say they created a transition binder with timelines, contact lists, and event templates. Now it's used by every new executive board member. So that could be a great initiative that you, not even as president, but just as a leader, you can create a template or a guideline binder of what your position is, what all the responsibilities were that you had to do, and how you did them. It is also a great way to put, this is the person that I got in contact with, this is their department, and things like that of that nature. Another example of what that can look like are some orgs make mentorship a part of their culture by pairing older members with new ones each semester. That's a great way to ensure that your organization does not die out when the school year dies out, so that we can ensure that our members eventually become officers to help the organization live on. Question two, what barriers or challenges could make this difficult but not impossible? So you want to think about what could making sustaining your legacy through tough times, turnover, burnout, lack of communication, or not having enough engagement, what could that look like for your organization? Some examples might be a lack of documentation or clear roles can make it hard for new officers to pick up where others left off. Or maybe life just gets busy, y'all, and that's 100% okay. But within that busyness, the consistency fades. How can your org plan ahead for that? So just think about those things. Then our third question, what skills or characteristics, either personal growth for leaders or organizational growth, need to happen to achieve that legacy? So when we do that, let's think about what systems, values, or attitudes need to become part of your organization's DNA. Like, what is the standard? You know what I mean? We will always show up on time. We will always be in uniform. We will always be kind. That's something that you can develop into your organization's DNA. But not only when you develop these things, should you do them, you should hold people accountable. And there's a certain way to do that, right? We want to make sure that we watch our tone, but it could be, hey, you don't have your name tag on and you're the president. And we really need you to have your name tag on, or we need you to be in communication with us, right? So some examples for that could be leaders who practice delegation and trust their team help develop others' confidence. Or it could be growth also comes from self-awareness. Leaders who understand their strengths and gaps can guide more effectively. So I hope you enjoyed this activity and I hope it was eye-opening for you. Now, just some debrief questions that we want to talk about that you can talk about within your organization or you can keep within yourself. And it is, what is legacy? Why is building a personal and organizational legacy important? Outside of student organizations, where and how can you build legacy? I think that's going to be my favorite question out of all of these because student organizations is a great place to start, but it is not where you finish. I know that many of you have jobs. Some of you are older siblings. Some of you might be parents. Some of you, depending on where you are in your academic career, you might be undergrad, you might be grad, you might be doctoral. So how else can those other experiences build up your personal and organizational legacy? And just as a cap off, Maya Angelou once said, I've learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And one more, legacy, it's not just something leaders leave behind when they graduate. It's built in the small daily choices you make as a leader. All right, y'all, that is it. That is all that we have for session 2 of our S.O.L.D workshop. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope to see you in the next one. If you have any questions or concerns or any ideas on how we can enhance this experience, please email me at vashti.moffett@unt.edu. Thanks, y'all, and I'll see you next time. As always, go mean green.